Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wiggin' Out with Bobby Z on a Wiggy Weavy Wednesday. Yay! So today's actually going to be a tutorial. Dun dun dun! I know you guys are all excited for that. It's going to be a kind of easy tutorial, but it's a tutorial nonetheless. So today I'm going to show you guys how to curl synthetic track hair two different ways, at least the way I do it. I'm also going to show you guys a second, easier method for those of you guys that don't really have all the tools and everything that I have. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some track hair, water bottle, a tail comb. I love my little teasy tail comb like I showed you guys in my comb review video. End papers if you choose. I like to use the end papers just because I find that I don't get my little like fishtail ends or the sticky outy straight ends all just nice and smooth. You can also roll them really tight. Corsage pins or something to anchor your wig down. You can use T-pins. I hate them, but you can use them. Or if your rollers that you're using have the snap lid on them, you can use that. I prefer to use these because you get a better tension, but use what you got, girl. Big headed sewing pins like these, the rollers in whatever size you choose. I'm doing a Cher Turn Back Time inspired big curly thing, so I'm going to set it all on orange. And because if I set it on yellow or green, it's going to get really frizzy really quick. So I figure if I do it on orange, it'll still give that big fullness and curl that my client wants, but it won't get frizzy and nasty. And scissors. First, what you're going to want to do is you're going to open your wefting. This is by Batik. It's the Batik Yaki Weaving 30" in a color 1. And I bought 2 packs because that's how much I had to my wigs. And it's long, so I'm probably gonna hate myself for doing this wig with the 8 feet of hair that I have right now. And then usually what I do is I just pull this off the back because it's staticky. That's what it is. Like if that's attached to the back of your head, it goes down. And I'm 6'1", and I have a long torso, and this comes down to my waist where I wear my pants. Like that's. And if it's on top of your head, it's going to hit your natural waist. So 30 inches of hair is a lot of hair. Okay. I bought this hair down at Wigs and Plus. I didn't go to Wigs and Plus on 14th Street. I went to Wigs and Plus uptown, which I believe is on 32nd or 31st Street. Right around Madison Square Garden. It's the little twist ties on top. You can untwist them, but honestly, I just snip them off because it just makes it easier to just snip them. You're also going to need a wig head of any sort. This would be a project for a styrofoam head, especially if you're going to boil the hair. And you're also going to need a stand of some sort. You can use a broom on the back of a chair. You can use a tripod like I have. You can use a cheap little $2 table stand from Sally Beauty. Whatever you want, as long as you can get a nice grip on your head. You're going to need a steamer or 2 pots, 1 pot of boiling water, 1 pot without water. So let's get started. It wouldn't be a Wiggin' Out with Bobby Z tutorial if I wasn't drinking coffee, so I'm all caffed up. This weft is so long, it is probably going to tangle the whole time I'm doing this. But I find that if you get the iron safe hair, usually it doesn't tangle as much as just a plain synthetic hair does. So I'm just kind of brushing this just to make sure that there aren't any tangles as I'm working. I'll put a chair near where I'm working, and that's just so that the extra hair doesn't go all over the floor. Sometimes I'll drape it across my body, other times I won't. So a big tip when you're opening up wefting, especially curly or wavy wefting, is when you're opening it, you want to open it the way that it was folded up. You don't just want to pull it apart, because if you just do that, it'll tangle really bad. So you're going to take your piece of wefting, and you're going to start on one end. Doesn't matter which end, because they're both the same thing. And especially with synthetic wefting, a lot of times you don't get that small return of hair that you know which side's the back and the front. So if there's no small returns and there's no back or front, you can just do it either way. As you can see, I'm going to put it on here, but you don't want to pin straight into the block. You don't want to go straight into it. You do that, you're just going to pin the hair in, and then if you pull it either way, you're going to pull that pin out. So what I like to do is I like to take my little end and fold it over a little bit, just so that you don't pull through the end of the wefting with your pin. And then I like to go opposite. So since the hair is going here, the tension's going to be pulling that way. So I'm going to pin going this way so that it counterbalances the pulling. Because if you would put the pin in this way, you would pull it out when you go to section the hair. So if you pin it in this way, you're going the opposite direction for the way it's being pulled, and it's going to be more secure. So you pin in, and you want to pin sideways going that way. So then what I do is I just take my head, and I continue to do the same thing with my wefting, and I pin them all going the opposite direction from the way the hair is being pulled, and I pin them maybe every 4 or 5 inches. You don't have to pin it, over pin it, because that's just a waste of time and pins, but you don't want it to be too loose because you're not going to get an even curl, and you're going to have saggy sections if you do that. Then when you get to the end, you're going to want to pin the opposite direction just to get that tension in on that end. Perfect. So after you get all the hair pinned on the head, you want to take your brush, and you just want to brush the hair nice and smooth just to make sure that there aren't any tangles and that you can easily brush through it and make your section. Okay, so now that I have this all pinned down and brushed out, I'm going to wet it down and start to set it. So if you wet down the whole thing, that's just a waste of water, because by the time you get around to here, this will be dry because synthetic hair doesn't absorb water. It beads right off like a feather. Okay, so I recorded an entire tutorial on how to do this, except I set the whole thing on orange rollers, and as you can see, it doesn't really look that great. So some of them, like this one, turned out great. So you can see that's nice and curly and bouncy, but then there are some that look kind of like that, which is just scraggly, and then you pull them apart and it's basically straight. Straight pieces in there, whatever. That's just, the hair's too long and too thick to put on an orange roller. I should know better, but I was trying to be cheap and quick and easy and not have to tape rollers together to show you guys. So, yeah. I make mistakes. I'm human, I swear to God. That I'm human, I make mistakes. So, now I'm going to show you guys how to prevent that from happening in the first place, which I should have done, but I was too lazy to do this. So basically, what you want to do is you want to take 2 rollers. Now, these are the same size as the orange, and a piece of masking tape. Basically, what you're doing is you're taping 2 rollers together to make a double roller. You can make a triple or a quadruple. You can make it as long as you want. So you basically just take the roller, and I like to start on a little bit of an angle so you can see it's curling up, and I like to curl the tape around until you get to about there. See how the tape is kind of curled up over the edge of the roller. You stick the other roller into that little spot, and then you'll tape around until you cover it fully. So then that's one piece of tape, and that swirls up that way. So then I'm going to go with another piece of tape swirling the opposite way to make it sturdy, and then you roll it in your hands, and ta-da, you got a double roller. Okay, so when you're setting, you want to make sure that you take a small, thin section, because you want to, especially if you're working with length, you want to make sure that you have enough length, enough thickness so that the roller won't get too bulky. As you can see, this is very sturdy. Take your end paper on the end, spray it down just to get those ends nice and wet. And then what you want to do is you want to start and you want to hold the roller so the roller sits above your section of hair. You want to start all the way at the end, and you want to roll that nice and tight, and then you want to roll up your roller, and you want to keep that tension nice and even and taut throughout. And occasionally you'll get pieces that will fold under. You can just use the tail of your comb and just smooth them back into place. Pull all the other hair out of the way before you go to pin your roller in, because then you'll have, if you don't, you'll have hair stuck. Okay, as you guys can see, I sped this up because who wants to sit and watch me roller set all day? I mean, I wouldn't want to. I'm just rolling them all in the same direction as I keep going. Next, what you want to do is you want to take your water bottle and you want to spray down each roller just to make sure that it is wet. Especially because the hair is so long and dense. You really want to make sure that the hair is as wet as it possibly can be when you go to set it, because the steam will permeate better. Now, this is how I personally steam. I take a really big bag, just a nice big shopping bag, and you want to make sure if there's printing, the printing's on the outside. This is a bag that I got at the beauty supply when I bought some hair, and it's big, so it'll work. And you want to cover your head like that with the bag. And of course, this isn't on yet. So you want to steam the front rollers for like 15-20 seconds. And then you're going to want to keep doing quarter turns, 20 seconds, quarter turn, 20 seconds, quarter turn, 20 seconds. And that's how you get the whole thing set. And then because this hair is so long, sorry, it's turning on the steamer. Because this hair is so long and so thick, I'm probably going to end up steaming it twice. If your wefting is not really thick or it's not really long, you can just steam it once and it'll usually be fine. But for something really, really thick and dense like this, I've found that if you do it twice, it makes it all the better. So now my steamer's on, as you can see. That's hot, so don't put your hand on that or anything. So you're going to put the steamer up under the bag. Grab the bag tighter on the bottom. And I usually don't put the steamer right on the rollers. I put the steamer underneath, because then you can touch the roller through the bag and you can feel how hot it's getting. So then I'll do my little quarter turn. Okay, so now that she's cooling off, I'm going to show you guys the second way that you can do this. And this is the much easier, cheaper, quicker way. I find this way is easy. I do find that sometimes if you don't set your curl right, or if you don't attach them right and they can get loose, you'll get really weird shapes and bumps and stuff in your wig. So you have to be careful of that. So for this method, I would use a styrofoam head. You can use a canvas head like I used, but make sure that you cover it with plastic, like how mine are covered in plastic and tape. That's to protect the block. So you want to do that first, and then you're also going to want to add a plastic bag over that, just to be even more safe. Is you're going to follow the same steps that I did before and set her. You can also do this with a full wig if you want. It's the same kind of steaming process or boiling process. But it's easier to show you guys with just take a pot. Now, this pot is small. It's best if you have two pots that are big like this. I do have two, but I couldn't find the other one right now because it's my craft dyeing pot, so I couldn't find it. I don't know where it is. And you're also going to need a colander. What you're going to do is you're going to boil water in one of your pots. Now, because I only have the small one in my hand, this is what I would boil water in. So you want to fill it up, boil the water, and take your other pot, and you want to take your colander, and you want to put them in each other. This doesn't have any hair on it because I didn't feel like doing two sets of roller sets just to demonstrate this, but you guys will get the point. So you want to take your styrofoam head and you want to put it upside down in your colander. Now, if you're doing with a canvas head, same thing, put it upside down. Put this in my lap so you guys can see this a little better. So what you're going to want to do after your pot of water is done boiling, you're going to hold your wig with one hand to keep it steady, and you're going to pour the boiling water on your wig as you spin it around. Now you're going to want to do this slowly, and you're going to want to keep it angled at where your bottommost roller is. So if you have rollers in the top of this, they're going to be sitting in that pool of water down here. You want to keep turning, keep turning, keep turning until you pour all the water out. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to lift the colander out. So basically all the boiling water that you just poured over your wig is going to be in this bottom pot, and this is going to be just sitting here. If you have two pots that are the same size, like I talked about, you just take this, you slide this over, you put it in the empty pot you just took the boiling water out of, and then just pour it over once more. Just like that. Pour it over once more, slowly, so you make sure you get all the hair. Make sure you kind of swirl it around and get all the hair in. And it's best to get a really big towel and to wrap it up in a towel and blot that extra moisture out of the wig. And then usually what I do to dry my wigs is I just put them in front of my fan, like my fan to just circulate air through my apartment. I just put them in front of that, and they'll dry in a day or so. If you really need it to dry quickly, you can take a bonnet dryer or a hair dryer with a bonnet attachment, and you can put it on low, and you can put it in the bonnet dryer, and you can do it that way. I usually just wait for them to dry in the air because it's synthetic, so it doesn't absorb water like human hair does, and it'll dry within a matter of hours, honestly. She's been steamed twice and cooled, so let's do the big reveal. As you can see, I did speed this up again because my video is already very long because I like to chat. So just take them out carefully, starting at the bottom, and unwind them gently, one by one, until you've reached all the way around and all your rollers are out. Okay, so she's done. She curled. She curled really great. I love ringlets because when you bounce it does that. Yeah, so she curled brilliantly perfect. So I'm very, very pleased. Much better than when I did it on the single rollers the first time. So yeah, she looks great. Very, Little Women-esque. So here she is all nice and set. As you can see, she is ringleted, top to bottom, even curl throughout, instead of before where it was like straight, curly. That's no fun. So yeah, I hope you guys learned a lot today with my little tutorial on how to set synthetic hair. So be sure to subscribe. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter and on Pinterest and on Tumblr and all of that stuff. That's great and makes you into a stalker like me. So check me out on there. Email me questions if you want to see anything in a future video. Let me know. If you have any questions for me, let me know. Email me. I'll be sure to get back to you guys soon. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.